serve, and grow is what you can expect at the House of Reconciliation. Leadership, community, education, wellness, and participation is part of our plan for your spiritual growth and success. Family and faith is a core value for the House of Reconciliation, working to help people find their purpose. Want to make an impact in the kingdom? Ready to tap into your future? Meet us at the House Sundays with Pastor Reginald Campbell, www.houseofreconciliation.org.
I want to thank you for joining us. We are here at the Greenville campus at the House of Reconciliation. Of course, we do appreciate those chiming in from the Greenville campus, and of course to our virtual campus. I got a chance to talk to a couple of the virtual campus members today. Brother Ray, Reverend Fleming, I spoke with him today. My mind's in so many different places. I want to thank all of you and across the nation, and for those who are getting the book, Basic Financial Steps. If you do purchase the book online, you can get it at Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, most of your fine retailers. It is a different cover. I did order some covers that are new, because a couple people said, well, the one I'm seeing is not like the one that you're showing. But the exterior is different, but the interior is the same. So I want to thank all of you and still wish you a happy new year. I want to say that we will be with Church of Jesus Christ of Columbia on their Brotherhood this coming Sunday afternoon. For all of my friends that are in the Columbia area, I gave a shout out, I believe it was yesterday, to the Gordons and to Ty Hutchison and quite a few people in that area. If you're available, please come out. Let's fellowship January the 15th at 6 p.m. at Church of Jesus Christ on Columbia. We do have a flyer that is on our social media. That is at 101 South Assembly Street in Columbia, South Carolina. We'll be there around 5:30. We will bring the book. Had a couple opportunities to talk to a couple college students, and they're getting the book, learning how to budget. Their parents are telling them things are different now, so you have to do some things. I saw where one of the major financial institutions in America, or actually in the world, is getting ready to lay off over 3,200 people in their business. So we had talked about it pre-recession, pre-inflation. We're still now dealing with inflation. Depends on who wants to put the spin on it. And some say that we are in a recession. The challenge is, so goes the mind, so goes the money. We've talked about mastering you will master your money. Who rules your money? Your past, your destiny, or your future? For those that are a part of the fast and devotion, I have recommended that many people find a level of devotional reading, just not for this month, but to help you. Because if you don't right set your spirit, you don't right set your mind, you will have a multiplicities of challenges, not only sometime day by day, but sometime minute by minute. I've shared this with you before. Don't walk in fear. Walk in purpose. We cannot do that without a plan. Our constant theme is connect, grow, and serve. We've talked about what the number 20 means. Redemption means recover. The number 23 means spiritual. Neurology means to death. So the question becomes, what are we willing to die from as we get ready and prepare for the next couple of months to go into Resurrection Sunday? Some call it Easter. We had a slide up, transition of life, or transformation of life. And so we're kind of dealing with a subtopic called transition to transformation. Our scripture comes out of Proverbs 21:5, still the English Standard Version. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty come only to poverty. I want to share this with you, another side of the mere thought of plans. Here is what we want to do and learn now. We want to package ourselves with the tools to become critical thinkers, not emotional thinkers. Not people who react because of a situation, but people who have the skill set to pull back and do an analysis and a study and do a good evaluation. So we're going to deal with that. And one of the reasons I use this, and I asked a few earlier to hashtag the Georgia Bulldogs, because the coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, said in a commentary, if we want to repeat for the third time as national champs, we must now start the journey of reinvent ourselves in order to pursue a historical three-peat. This is where everybody is. Most people have had a level of success. And so what worked then more than likely will not work now. So we have to come up with a different strategy and a different plan. He says, we must start the journey now. We won on Monday, all right? Monday's over. We're into Wednesday. If we're still resting on our loins and celebrating what was, we can never embrace what is to become. Why? We have to pre-prep now. So that is a key word, pre-prep, which means gather the ingredients. I think it's still recruitment time to a certain degree. You still have that one or two players to plug that hole. What are you missing in your life? Those one or two benefactors that will benefit you, but it does not come without sacrifice. Challenges come regardless of what level of the spectrum we are. Low, in the middle, high, challenges still come. We must start now the journey of reinventing ourselves in order to pursue it. I think the topic this evening, on this Wednesday evening, was asked, what about you and your future? And we had talked previously, and we are trying to not necessarily draw it to a conclusion, but draw it that we can move. We talked about finding yourself, and I said again, what about you? And I'm going to give you a couple of stories real quick to think about. What about you? What about your future? Finding yourself, three aspects of every person: personal, professional, and spiritual. I've seen and read and heard stories in the last 3 or 4 weeks about dreams being put on pause, false realities. I had a father to come to me, and we were just having a conversation. He was an older gentleman, have much respect for him, and he was telling me about his daughter, and she was getting ready to go to med school, and instead of going to med school, she got married. A couple weeks prior, her husband had a massive heart attack, and now she's had some downtime, and she feels kind of stuck because there were some things in her life that she feel like she didn't complete. And still at a very young age. Now, where do you go? Where do you go? So this is, and this is before I had already had the topic. What about you? What about you? So there's some things that's going to be kind of tight, but if we listen to them, it will help us. So he said, and I could hear in his voice the resentment that she did not finish fulfilling her dream. How many people have stopped their dream because they received or accepted something that they thought would be there? But that's why I say, what about you? Your dreams, male or female, and I know the society that we have lived in, I had to go back and understand what was happening in the 40s and the 50s to be able to understand some of the language of some of the older men. What was culture. I remember the times when women couldn't vote. I wasn't born then, but you learn in history when they couldn't vote, nobody had rights but men, and even if you were a man, sometimes you still didn't have rights. Only a certain section of men had rights. So you look at the history, and so even today, it may not be as powerful as it was, but at the end, there's still a 82% margin in equality in pay for male and females. So females are paid 80% less than what their counterparts are. So here's the thing. I heard the resentment in the father's voice that she gave up on her dreams. Now, I can't tell anybody what to do in your situation, but I will encourage everybody that, listen, here's what I wrote. If you don't complete you, you will be incomplete with everyone and everything in your life. There are some things that were given to you by your innate inheritance and by your spiritual birthright in Christ. And sometimes we get with people who are good for the moment, but not understanding of the future, male or female. And so I could hear in his voice, and he's 75 plus years old. He's like, now, how is my daughter going to make it? Because remember the knight in shining armor? So women's like, oh, well, I just go to college and get a husband, and I'll be okay. I don't have to worry about a thing. False reality. There were a time that many women, or a larger percent of women, stayed at home. They were stay-at-home moms. Now it's hard for anybody to stay at home. So when you look at this, if you don't complete you, and you must understand and make a hard decision. If you're not satisfied with you, how can anybody else enjoy you? If you haven't accomplished, because it has been a male-dominant society. And so men like, well, if you don't want to marry me, and women think he's the only one in the world, let that joke escape. No, for real. If he was in the military, you'd have to wait. Thank you. Men need to speak up. If he was doing something, women have to wait. But it's been in our culture that men don't wait on women. And so now, another story right here in our city. Young lady in church. Deacon saw her. Somebody saw her. They liked what they saw. They got together. They got married. She's 59. Either he's 63 or 67, somewhere in there. And now he's in a nursing home. COVID issues. And the place that they live at, in the area they live at, they've doubled her rent within 1 month. She was a cook. He was in sanitation department. And so now, gentrification is trying to tell them, you guys got to go, but where do you go? So these are the stories, and this is why I'm teaching at this level, real talk to real people who deal with real issues, who need real solutions. So here's the thing. If you don't complete you, I encourage everybody, every man, every woman, if you're a spouse, if your partner has the opportunity and a dream, don't hinder them because of your own insecurities. There are certain things and certain necessities that people will tell you, oh, well, we don't do that. We don't do that, and we don't do that. And so years later, you find out there's a whole group, and they have a fraternity. They have a sorority, and they're in this particular field, but you were told not to pursue it. That's why I say, what about you? You have a brain. You're an individual, just like everybody else. So that's why I never understand why you allow people's opinion to have more influence over you than your own innate ability. How do you let people who didn't wake you up, how do you let people that didn't give you the house you live in, how do you let people that didn't buy clothes on your back have such a great influence on you that you feel bad about yourself? How does that happen? So here's the thing. You can wait on a person, but you have to ask yourself, will they wait on you? Will they be patient for you to develop you? Because it says the plans of the diligent. It didn't say plans of men. The plans of the diligent lead surely to an abundance. For a relationship, for a person and a person to position themselves, quit trying to grow up on other people and grow up and then get with other people. It's in the Bible. Abram, who was he going to sacrifice? Isaac. Isaac did not even get married or was considered for marriage until he was 40 years old. You have the right to prepare yourself. If you don't complete you, that's why there's so many things and so many people messed up. They got together when they were gathering ingredients, and they figured we'll be together for life. Hello, somebody. And then you find out and wake up one day, you're different people going different places. If you don't complete you, you will always be incomplete with everyone and everything. This is how people are losing themselves and not having an identity. Why? because they're trying to fit others. You cannot cast your dreams aside. They were given to you to discover your innate ability, discover your spiritual birthright. You cannot throw you away. And here's what happens to most people: living in the fantasy and the imagination of other people. And this is what Kirby Smart was saying. Hashtag Georgia Bulldogs. He was saying we can't live in what we've done for 2 years in a row. You can't build a dynasty off of what was. You have to keep reinventing the wheel. If not, you become an old team. Your ingredients become old, and things break down. Stop living in the fantasy and imagination of other people. The plans of the diligent. Here is the kicker that really made me use this part of the scripture. It says, but everyone who hastily, oh, if I don't get it with her, if I don't get with him, if I don't take this job, there will be no job. There are jobs. I would tell you as if though I would tell my granddaughter or my grandson, if they can't wait, let them pass. You've got to build you. You've got to become the best version of you. I'm going to show you why that's important. But those that are hasty only comes to poverty. Here is the kicker. When the door knocks for you, you have to be at your best. It is one of the first requirements. When the door of opportunity knocks, the plans of the diligent, no different than the 5 wise and the 5 foolish. The 5 wise prep. The 5 foolish look good on that day. But if your season is delayed, what is your health and what is your preparation? You took all of your paintings, all of your dreams, and you threw them away because somebody said no. You didn't know that person was a stumbling block. So you didn't pursue your outside business. You didn't pursue another skill. You didn't go back to school because you know why? You've been living in the fantasy of other people. And so people who do things hastily always comes to poverty. When the door knocks, you must be at your best. It is the first requirement. Here's why we talk about the tools of critical thinking. Here is what I want to give you before we give those out. I said stop living in the fantasy and imagination of other people. Listen. Listen, young man. How old are you? Listen. Stop being hindered by unfound criticism. Why would a person dislike you and know nothing about you? Why would a person dislike you and know nothing about you? Stop being hindered. Stop. Listen. Let me say this, and I'm not going to say it the way the greats say it, and that's people like Bishop Noah Jones and Bishop Jakes and the great Bill Winston and also John Maxwell. Sometimes you make people uncomfortable even if you don't open your mouth. And you somewhere looking for acceptance, and you don't really know they're looking up to you. Because most people, watch this, who have an issue with you don't have what you have. And what you have is an issue to them. If they didn't finish school, they got an issue with you finishing school. If you have a level of a higher education, you have a level of a skill, you have a certification, you got a degree, they're uncomfortable with you. Because nobody complains about people that are beneath them. They always complain about, you're getting it now. They always complain about people who they feel like are a threat to them. So you're not getting invited to the room. You're not coming to the party. Because if you go in the party and you say something, now they think they look good because they're over you. But the people ahead of them realize why you're not using some of your most critical thinkers. Because that's where a higher education and a level of education and credentials matter. And you somewhere worried about being accepted about somebody who hadn't done what you done? Oh, if I wasn't on camera, I would tell you where to send them. You worried about someone who didn't go through the police academy? You worried about somebody who didn't go through the doctoral program? You can't have a conversation with me about something you've never experienced. Now, that's just real talk for real people who need to get over people who are not at your level. You can be my boss, but like I tell people all the time, you don't need to worry about the title. You need to be concerned about who has the influence. The person that has the influence outweighs the person who has the title. I'll let y'all get that one in a minute. Because knowledge will ascend you to where a place where a title. Bishop Jones said it best. You always have the appointed in front of the anointed. The anointed are not appointed. They're called. The appointed is selected. So many people have been selected to be in a seat that they don't qualify to be in. But because somebody liked them, this is my sons in the gospel, and these are my daughters in the gospel, and they've been with me for a while, and we're alumni brothers. That's why I almost said a word. It's sitting in front of you. They didn't earn it. You were gifted it, and you earned it. And you always bother people who were selected. Y'all will get that later. Many people are still hanging on to the past and not the evidence that's in front of them. I just gave you that evidence. Many people are worried, well, they didn't even give me an interview. Who cares? Because you can't lead looking back. And if your leader is constantly looking back at you, they bothered by you. Let me go ahead and say this. Don't get stuck on what other people say. Always look for the evidence. If there is no process, then what has been said is not sustainable. You want me to say that again? Don't get stuck on what people say. Look for the evidence. And when you find the evidence, you're going to find the process. If there is no process, then what they said has no sign of sustainability. I'll say it again. Don't get stuck on what people say. That's why people talk. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. They just talking. Look for the evidence. Say, what's the process? If they don't have one, then what they said is not sustainable. Yeah, we're going to get together. Yeah, we're going to get together, having me. I move on right then. Because if there's no process, there's no sustainability. I wish someone who deal with data would say, the numbers don't lie. You can have a whole lot of talk and yard work and a whole lot of stack of papers of people you talk to, but if there's nothing that was processed and was completed and finished, you can't fight it. Say it again, say it loud. You can't fight the data. And some people, oh, no, shut up. The data don't lie. And so what they try to do is they try to get you off course. As old people would say, that dog don't hunt. Because, and say it again, the data don't lie. You interviewed 50 people and didn't sign up one. What the? You drove 1,500 miles and don't have nothing. You say you done work 12 hours and them boxes still out. You had 23 pallets to put on that truck. And we look up and 22 still on the floor. I'm going to say this again. Don't get stuck on what people say. Always look for evidence, young man. Listen, I'm going to say this to you because I hang out with a guy who's really a mentor to me. And I'm not in his class. I'm not in his ethnicity. But he treats me good. I don't hang around people who criticize me. Ask me why. They don't have nothing to offer. This man takes me and he teaches me. I already have lunch set up with him next week. He teaches me the strategy of business. And I'm not an architect or an engineer, but he shows me the strategy and the concept of things that I learned from him. I'm focused on who can teach me, not who like me. So here's what it says. People will always hang on to your failures and never embrace or see your opportunities. People always, I tell them all the time, down in Greenwood, there was a little pink house. They used to sell candy, and they used to have these little hard Mary Janes, and I stole one. Yes, I did. And there are people, I'm 61. I probably was 8, maybe 7. And there are people still, all these years later, 50 years later, 52 years later, still talking about I stole a Mary Jane. There's some people who are stuck and they can't move on. Don't let your past dictate the footsteps of your future. I'll say it again. Don't let your past dictate the steps of your future. Remember this. When people are criticizing you, remember, what about you? What about your future? Remember, people are quick to want to move on when they're at fault. People are quick to want to move on, but they'll bring up your stuff every week, every day. Well, you got suspended last month. You know this. They will always bring up your shortcomings, but when you bring up theirs, they're ready to move on. But am I making sense? And I'm going to say this, and I got 4 things to give you, and we're done. There are moments that are coming for you that are in person, Greenwood campus, virtual campus, and global connections. There are moments that will require the best of you. That can't happen if it's not about you and your future. The opportunity will come, and it will come knocking. But will you have done the pre-work? What does that mean? Are you in school getting your certification? Are you finishing school? Are you thinking about skipping school? Or other stuff has come up? Listen, I said today I had some really, really bad news. But when I walked outside, I saw someone walking, and they had their pet with them. And something said to me, everybody got problems. Don't take your focus off your goals. Everybody's dealing and going through something. Remember this. There are moments that will require the best of you. And you should wake up every day being ready for those moments. I'll say it again. There are moments that are coming that are going to be defining moments. Just like when I was talking to one of my mentors on Tuesday, and he was talking with someone. He said, no, man. He said, hold on. Come on, get in. Yeah, we got to talk. And the guy had 4 properties, major properties. So he was observing his property and how he was selling and building houses so he could take some ideas back to the 4 properties that he has. What you gonna build with? You look like $1 million. But where is your pre-work when opportunity comes? Somebody might want to build 25 houses on your land. Ooh, but you don't have land. Somebody might want to rent your house, your second or third house. Oops, but you don't have a house. Someone needs to buy a car. Oops, but you don't have a spare car. Someone is hiring, but it takes a certain, oops, but you quit school. There are moments that will require the best of you. Be ready for those moments. Reminder that all is not lost. You still have a future. Let me give you these 4 keys and we're done. Now, here's what I'm going to give you. What do we have to do to thrive in a situation? I'm going to give you 4 things and we're going. Number 1. What do we do to thrive in a situation? Number 1, Match the urgency that is needed to achieve the task. Number two, have your wow moment and then settle in. I'll go back to the top. What do we have to do? Remember, what about you and your future? So these moments are coming. Don't think your life is over because of 3 or 4 mistakes or something didn't go right or you're having a bad season. Listen, it's winter now. Spring is coming. If you live, you will see spring. What do we have to do to thrive in this situation? Number one, match the urgency that is needed to achieve the task. In other words, it's going to need your undivided attention. Number two, have your wow moment, then settle in. That means you're going to have to work the process. Number three, embrace external doubt. Know that when you take on this issue or this opportunity, you're going to have doubters. But remember these 2 things. You have internal support. You have 3 things. You have the data. You have your innate ability. You have your spiritual connection with God, number 3. And number 4, you have the process to get it done. Number 4, don't let the situation change you. Be yourself. If you don't be yourself, you'll lose yourself under the pressure of the challenge. You want me to say that one again? Okay. Number 4, be yourself. You got to trust you. You got to trust your data. You got to trust your innate ability. You got to trust your skill set. You got to trust your process. And you got to trust the leading of your Savior, Jesus Christ. If you do that, take a deep breath and be yourself. Ask me why. God can't work with something that he gave you. He needs to work with what he's put in you. And here's a bonus point, and I'm going to tell you where I got this from. You don't want to have to live up to someone else's expectations. You can live up to your own. And guess who I got that from? The great Tony Dungy. Because everybody think that the San Francisco 49ers are great because of, what's the guy's name, Shanahan? Kyle Shanahan and Lynch. Yeah, what is Lynch's first name? John Lynch. You know who John Lynch called 3 or 4 times a week? Tony Dungy. That's who he played for. So you see greatness. Yeah, he played for him in Tampa. So I was reading this article, and it had some things I said, man, I can use this. And it was, what's his name again? John Lynch calls Tony Dungy at least 3 to 4 times a week. And Tony Dungy said to him, and he called them when they lost their 2 quarterbacks. Tony, he went back to when they were in Tampa. He said, we lost both of ours, but we're not going to use that as an excuse. And so you sometimes you see people greatness, but no one's great without mentors of greatness. And most of the best mentors that are mentoring great people are very humble people. They're not loud and out front. They're not nature boy Ric Flair. Whoa, and all that. And I used to love Ric Flair. Now he give me a headache when he's, I guess because I'm older, and he's really old. But I'm just saying, see, if you want a great mentor, your mentor isn't concerned about being out front. Your mentor is concerned about working the details and tweaking you so when you go out front, you'll be able to succeed. So I wondered why San Francisco, and, I was like, man, John Lynch has come in, done a great job. He calls Tony Dungy. When they lost their
quarterback, the starting quarterback. Then they lost their second quarterback that they were going to trade. And then they got somebody don't nobody know about Purdy, whatever. And so it said in the article, these are the 4 things Tony Dungy gave him. Don't meet other people's expectations. Meet yours. So I go back to the title. What about you? What about your future? You, male or female, have a right to the destiny and to the things that God put inside of you. You have that right. And people who are going to be in your life has to learn to give you that space to grow with you. You were designed to share, not to control. So I hope I've said something, as they say, that would help you. I'll look to talk to you soon.